Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. This morning's briefing is going to be a follow-up to last night's Sunday address, talking about whether or not people, especially those of us who say that it's time for us to abstain from voting until our demands are met, if we're afraid Trump's going to lose the election. For those of you who might have missed it, go back and watch it. It's well worth it. It's a deep dive, but it's informative. But if you want the Reader's Digest version, the answer is no. I'm not a Republican, and Trump hasn't offered black people anything. So why would his losing again bother me? What I'm worried about is that a Kamala Harris win would be taken as black people supporting yet another do-nothing Democratic administration. And when you look at what's happened when Clinton was president, then Obama, and now Biden, it's time to realize the Democrats attack us with legislation just like the GOP does. And they also sit on their hands and let everybody take shots at us, just like the Republicans do. That's the thing that has to change. That's what's prompted I and others to look and say if there's ever a moment of clarity, it should be now. Now, what I want to know is, what do these plants expect to get? Their question is, well, why is it that you're not supporting Kamala Harris and the Democrats? We made it excruciatingly clear exactly why we're not doing it. Oh, so you're for the Republicans, right? No, stupid, that's what you do. Many of these anonymous clowns whose accounts seem to only have popped up in the last year or so, they are in many cases DNC operatives. They're campaign staffers and campaign staff wannabes. This is how you make your bones for the major parties. You work on someone's political campaign, and if you play your cards right, you just might get an administration job. I explained that this is what happened with Simone Mammy Sanders. She went from pushing lies for Biden on the campaign trail in 2020 to pushing papers for Kamala Harris in the White House basement after they got elected. And now she's pushing propaganda for MSNBC. So far as she's concerned, it all worked out very well. That's how it is in American politics. Everybody's trying to enhance their own resumes so that they can climb the ladder, make more money, get those big dollar speaking engagement fees. That's the game. But how does that help you? Answer, it doesn't. These shills and plants are totally self-interested, and where black people are concerned, they have open contempt. See, that's the entire problem with the so-called talented 10th. They have the same arrogance, the same know-it-all attitude, and the same lack of respect for the black community as the dominant society that they want to be liked by. They tell themselves that they have all the sense in the world, when in reality, they're merely auxiliaries of white power. The only relevant question anyone should be asking is, what are black people going to get? That's the entire point that these shills and plans don't want to talk about. Their job is to get us off of that. Do the scare talk, do the shaming language, whatever it is. Tell them too many people have died for our right to vote yes, and the Democrats sat on their hands and let it happen. They let all those black people get killed back in the 50s, 60s. And that's why they're sitting on their hands today, while black people are getting gunned down by the police in their own homes. Sonia Massey was murdered on the Democrats' watch, on Biden's watch, on Kamala Harris's watch. Voting is not about saving democracy. It's about deciding who gets what. And if the people who built this country get what we're supposed to have, then that would be democracy. And in America, it would also be a first. Now, another empty question that the shills ask is, well, is Trump promising to give you your tangibles? No, and that's why none of us are saying to vote for Trump. Kamala and the Democrats, on the other hand, are demanding our vote, and they're employing shills and plants to nag us about why we need to vote for her. Again, she wants our vote, but isn't going to offer us anything. How is that different than Trump? My question to these shills is, what are you getting out of all of this? We've made it very clear what it is that we want, but the question is, why are you guys so hot and bothered to get us to vote for nothing? What are you getting? You want to get a job, that's all. And you'll sell your soul to get it, and you'll gladly sell black America up the river, too. You shills keep going on and on about American democracy, which is an oxymoron, is a contradiction in terms. But your little imaginary concept of American democracy is hanging in the balance this year, right? Well, if democracy seems to be hanging by a thread, it's because Democrats have desperately tried to find any way they could to win the election without doing what the base told them to do. American democracy would not have to be in peril at all, except that Democrats have decided that denying black people what we're owed is more important than American democracy. If American democracy was so important, they wouldn't be in the position they're in to begin with. American democracy isn't at stake because this country's never had it. Certainly not where black people are concerned. What's at stake here is the political comfort of the white left and their political pets you see on cable news. They lied and they spent decades lying, and now a critical mass of black people are finally telling them no more votes without pledging to do specifically what we tell you to do, and that they have to then deliver on it. Isn't that what elections are supposed to be about? See, to voters, that's true, but for shills and plants, elections are about keeping their bosses happy. So when the boss says you have to lie to get support for the boss, and that lying to the people is somehow serving the greater good, you'll go along with it because you're liars. That's your job. This is some terminal denial going on the part of the shills. They can't understand what we're doing for two reasons. One, it simply doesn't compute in their minds that the same black people who voted for generations to get nothing have suddenly gotten serious about elections being transactional. To the shills, this has to be a bluff, right? Or it's just Negroes needing to blow off some steam, but it can't be real. At least, they can't believe that it is. And secondly, they're scared, because they can deal with terrified, obedient Negroes who occasionally grumble, but an awake and vigilant black polity who are making demands that require the dominant society to lose their power, that's something the shills can't accept, because they're depending on the dominant society to take care of them. They already know that we're not going to do it. See, they've tried the usual scare talk about Trump, and we didn't blink, so they've been flooding the zone with hysteria about Project 2025. I explained in an earlier video why that's just the same GOP crap, only a little bit more bellicose. And now we're challenging the scare tactics and holding firm that we're not here to save democracy. Our only concern is saving ourselves. And that should be our concern, because nobody else is looking out for us. The shills are playing for Team Red or Team Blue, but we're playing for Team Black. And if you're not on our team, then we're not supporting you. This is about changing the political calculus. For generations now, elections have been meaningless for us, because no matter who wins, we always lose. It's time for that to change. And no, we're not going to listen to these corrupt shills. We keep letting these interlopers and anonymous operatives mislead us every 2 years, and here we are damn near at death's door. We're always told we have to wait. Everybody else gets policies and tangibles. They get what they want. We get excuses and lies. Everyone else gets things specifically for themselves. We have people publicly telling us that doing anything for black people isn't feasible, as Bernie Sanders said, and it's politically perilous for them, and they're not going to do anything that only benefits black people. They do that stuff publicly, and that's their way of telling everybody that if black people say that they need something, well, you just tell everybody it's political suicide. Everyone will know that that's how you talk to black people. You just dismiss them out of hand. You have to make it a point to pejoritize them and smear them. Now, they don't do that with anybody else. Other groups say they want something, they talk to them respectfully. Even if they don't say yes, they talk to them with respect. With us, it's always an insult. It's always going to be some sort of public humiliation ritual. You make sure black people understand not only are we not going to do it, we are going to scoff at the very idea that you think you're supposed to get something. All right then, if that's how they talk to us, this is how we talk to them. With silence. So no, the question isn't whether Donald Trump's going to lose the election. The question for the shills is whether they will lose. Because while we don't have a particular dog in this fight, we don't have any hopes of working for any of these political prostitutes. The shills do. Well, that's their fight and they're welcome to it. And as for you shills and plants and DNC operatives who lurk in my comment section, since you guys love being errand boys and messenger boys for your DNC masters so much, I got a message you can take back to them. Tell Kamala Harris and her team if you want our vote, you gotta come to us, take the pledge to our interest, and then deliver on it. And if they've decided even at this late date that they're just not gonna do that, well, after the election, both you shills and the politicians you whore yourselves for will be working together after all. You'll all be very busy looking for new jobs. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Sa, Keegan Compton, Charles Hairston, Anthony, and Antithesis. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.